So today we will start with environment. Environment ki ache? This is one part of the family that you have to go and see and observe. Eta basically observation based data entry and collection. কি করতে হবে তোমরা প্রথমে গেলে গিয়ে ফ্যামিলির সাথে র‍্যাপো বিল্ড করলে কথা বললে যে ফ্যামিলিতে কে কে আছে কতজন আছে তারা কোথায় কোথায় কে কাজ করে কতজন প্রেগন্যান্ট মহিলা যদি কেউ থাকে তারা আছে আন্ডার 5 কেউ আছে কিনা ল্যাকটেটিং মাদার কেউ আছে কিনা এগুলো জেনে নিলে you have to first see whether all these criteria there or not. After that a section of you will go and see the environment of the household and others will see the other parts of the health. So what is the environment consisting of? Environment consisting of 3-4 things. First of all, there is housing. Housing includes kitchen, okay. Second, there is waste disposal, okay, waste and excreta disposal. So excreta disposal is third, and finally any other nuisance like any pets nuisance or rodents nuisance, other things. So all this consisting of environment. So housing ki ki ache? What are the things that are there in housing? First of all, you have to ask that is it their house or not. So it is their own house or rented or others. What is the type of house? It is pakka or kacha or mixed. So this is very important because the type of the house or the walls that are built, that also contributes to few of the diseases that are prevalent in this area. So what do you mean by kacha house and what do you mean by pakka house? Straw বা মাটির বাড়ি ঠিক আছে anything made of clay or anything stray এগুলো তোমার কাঁচা হাউস আর what is pakka house? Pakka house is cemented and completed, cemented and filled and completed like these walls, okay. This is pakka. And how to tell that it is a pakka house? You have to see the floor, the walls and the ceiling, all of them need to be completed like cement finished, then only you will say it's a pakka house. If only the wall is like asbestos tin roof and only the walls are pakka, then it's not a pakka house, it's a mixed house, okay. Or if there are only bricks, শুধু ইট পাতা আছে কোনো ফিনিশিং নেই, that is also a mixed house, okay. Site with approach road. So how far is the road away from that house, okay, that road that is accessible by any vehicle. Then setback, okay. What do you mean by setback? There around the house there should be an area that is open so that there is not much overcrowding or there is not much congestion of air, because that also contributes to some diseases that are spread by overcrowding. What is that? An example of that disease? Which disease is caused by overcrowding and congestion of space? Tuberculosis. That is one famous example. So there are many other examples like that. So the importance of a setback is there. What is a setback? That is an area around the house, so that the doors and windows open to the outside and not to some other houses walls, okay. So in the rural area, what is there? In the rural area, the setback should be 2/3. That is the whole area that is there, the whole area on which the house is built. In the rural area, the space should be 2/3 of that land and the house should be 1/3 of that land. That is the rural criteria, rural area criteria. And in the urban area criteria, what is that? The house should be in the at least 2/3 area and the setback should be at least 1/3. That is at least 1/3 of the total land should be setback in the urban area, because in urban area obviously there is a little bit of congestion. There is a less space compared to the rural area. So at least 1/3 of that land should be open in urban, and in rural there should be 2/3 of that is open, of that whole land. So that is called setback. So just see that in that house, in the surrounding of the house, there is space or not. If there is space, if there is adequate setback or not. So here you will write that setback is present. If present, then write it is adequate or inadequate. Just courtesy measure the, you can measure the land by eye, you can see, understand whether the setback is 1/3 or 2/3. And if it is measurable, then you measure. There will be tape measurements for the whole house. In the environment, you have to do that. In each room, you have to measure the height, and the length of the room and then calculate the area. So we have to calculate the area for certain calculations like overcrowding, if there is overcrowding present or not. So we are coming to that later. Firstly, after seeing the setback, you go inside the house and see what are the number of living rooms. Living rooms does not consist of kitchen or veranda. Okay, living rooms mean where a person sleeps. If someone sleeps there, someone rests there, that is a living room. So number of living rooms with floor space, that is each living room, what is the floor area? You just measure the length and the breadth of the living room, just the length and the breadth, and then calculate later when you are writing the family presentation. Then you calculate, at that time you just measure the length and the breadth and then note it in your copy in each of the living room. Then veranda is present or absent. Now then we are coming to this overcrowding assessment. The floor space comes in handy here in this per capita floor space criteria. That is the total floor space you calculate of the living rooms divided by the number of persons who are living in that household, that is number of family members. You see the per capita floor space is exceeding 50 feet square or not. If it is exceeding 50 feet square, then there is adequate space there for every person and overcrowding is absent. If per person the floor space is less than 50 feet square, then you will say that physical overcrowding is present. Another criteria is number of persons per room. Okay. So in one room, the total number of persons you have to see and then see the number of living rooms. If one room has 2 persons, per one room there are 2 persons, or 2 rooms there are 3 persons, 3 rooms there are 5 persons, all these are adequate. If one room consists of 3 persons, that is 3 persons are sleeping there, then there is overcrowding present. Okay. And after 4 rooms, 5 and above rooms, 10% plus 2, that is for each room added, there will be 2 additional persons. So that it depends on the number of rooms that are present in the house. So here also you have to see and observe what are there, and then remarks you have to write physical overcrowding present or absent. Now there is something called sexual overcrowding. Sexual overcrowding means sex separation is present or not. What is the criteria? 2 persons more than 9 years of age of opposite sex, not husband and wife, are obliged to sleep in one room. That is, their age is more than 9 years. Age is more than 9 years, and 2 persons of opposite sex and not husband and wife, that is not spouses, they are sleeping, they are obliged, they are forced to sleep in the same room, then there is sexual overcrowding present. So that you have to also mention in the remarks. This is the overcrowding. Now comes the ventilation. Ventilation means, what do you mean by ventilation? If ventilation is not present, then ventilation is absent. Circulation of air, that is doors and windows also work, right? Doors and windows also work. So you have to calculate the door space, that is just see the height and the breadth of that door. All the doors in the living rooms, you have to see whether they are in that room, whether the door space is 20% of the floor area or not. So you have to write in the measure, that is what is the feet square of the total door space equal to how much percentage is of the floor space. That you have to write here, whether it is exceeding 20% or below 20%. Then there is window area also like that, 20%. Total it should be 40% of the floor space. If that is there, then you see that there is adequate ventilation, that is adequate air circulation is there. Otherwise, air circulation is not adequate. Now for example, a door or a window of that room is always closed, always, they never open it for some reason. Then that won't come under window space or door space, that will be there. You have to ask that whether that door is always closed or it is opened sometimes also. That you have to understand. Now there is called ventilation, and second there is cross ventilation. What is cross ventilation? Door and window facing each other or diagonally opposite in the walls, and there is another criteria, one of them should open to the outside area. That is, both should not be closed. So if that door and this window is open, there is cross ventilation present because that window is opening to the outside. If both are opening to some corridors or some closed space, then cross ventilation is not there. Okay. So you have to just write present or absent. Whether natural lighting is there or not. What do you mean by natural lighting? How will you subjectively or objectively see whether there is natural lighting present in the room or not? How will you measure that? Light of kohle, then what? Adequate lighting ache kina? Alo to ashbei. Whether there is adequate lighting, how will you measure? You have to measure the adequate lighting subject. There are two methods. That you can measure the light amount that is there objectively, but you don't have any device to measure that. So subjectively, how will you measure? Either in the darkest corner of the room, you can read something of a newspaper or a book or not. That is how you measure it subjectively. That is in the darkest part of the room, you go and see whether you can open and read your copy or read your book. If you can read that, then there is adequate natural lighting. If you cannot read that, then there is inadequate natural lighting. Okay. Then there is dampness. Dampness means you see the walls and see whether the damp is, water is seeping in the walls or not. You will be able to understand. Cooking place. Now you are coming to the kitchen. Cooking place. Separate kitchen is present or inside the living room or at the veranda. So there are certain houses where in the veranda there are kitchen materials and kitchen setup. That is not a separate kitchen space, that you have to mention that it is in the veranda. Otherwise, sometimes they are in the living room also, in the middle of the room where everyone is sitting and eating and everything, and there is also the kitchen is there. So you have to see whether there is separate kitchen present or not. Why are we seeing whether separate kitchen is present or not? What is the importance of this? Lung disease hote pare. Why? Smoke nuisance. So that is one thing is smoke nuisance, and that is indoor air pollution. Okay. Indoor air pollution. Why is indoor air pollution not desirable? Air pollution is everywhere, right? But why is indoor air pollution more harmful? So what are those? Those are non-communicable diseases, right? Asthma, COPD, these are non-communicable diseases. So that can be precipitated after years of exposure to the smoke. Always there is smoke in the living room. Always the persons are exposed there. There is no outlet of smoke. There is no exhaust. So the person is continuously getting exposed to the smoke, especially if biofuel is used instead of LPG. So that is leading to asthma, COPD, especially in children. So you have to see that. So type of biofuel used is, biomass used is wood, cow dung, dry leaves or anything. If biomass is used, if not used, you have to say it is not used. Fossil fuel, kerosene or LPG is used for cooking or not, or others, if there is induction there or not. So what are they using for cooking especially, you have to measure that. There can be more than one methods of cooking, more than one fuel source for cooking. They can use both chula and they can use LPG, or they can use wood and LPG. Okay, very rarely you will find coal, using coal. No one uses coal nowadays. In very rural areas they might use coal, but nowadays if they are using any type of fuel other than LPG, they usually use wood. Okay, so that you have to mention. Smoke nuisance, if the kitchen is inside the house or you are observing something being cooked, so you have to see that the smoke nuisance is present or absent. If you can see that directly, you say present, or if you are seeing that the kitchen is inside the living room, or if the veranda is not properly open or anything and the smoke is can all come inside the room, then you say that smoke nuisance is usually present. Indoor air pollution, naturally resulting from that, indoor air pollution might be present. Now there is something called storage of raw food and storage of cooked food. Raw food means whatever they are buying from outside, the food that are buying from outside and then storing, not cooked yet. That is raw food. So why are we asking them the storage for raw food? I don't think there is shortage of food anywhere in this nowadays that much. The options are proper and improper. So what is the problem with improper storage of raw food? Contamination, right? Contamination of food. There might be fungal contamination, right? There might be rodents going around and eating all those food and then contaminating the food. So that is whether the storage is present. How will you see that the storage is adequate or the storage is properly there? You will see that they're keeping it in covered containers or tins or cans, and everything is just covered and within some type of at least container and not lying out in the open. Or if they are in the open and not inside a container, they are protected or put somewhere where contaminants cannot reach there. Okay, the kitchen is properly aerated and everything. So that you have to see whether the storage of raw food is proper or improper. Next is coming storage of cooked food. Usually where do you store cooked food? Refrigerator. So that is one proper storage of cooked food. Others, if the family doesn't have a refrigerator, they only cook and eat daily. So in that case, how do they store cooked food? What is the proper way of storage? So proper storage of cooked food. You just keep it covered in a container, that's it. কিচেনে ওরকম ভাবে এদিক ওদিক না ফেলে রেখে ড্রেনের পাশে না ফেলে রেখে ইউ জাস্ট কিপ ইট অন দা যে রান্নাঘরের তাক আছে বা একটা জায়গায় যেখানে সব খাবার স্টোর করা আছে সেখানে কভার করে রাখতে হবে, তার মধ্যে যেন কিছু ঢুকতে না পারে। অনেক সময় জালি দিয়ে রাখে, অনেক সময় এমনি প্লেট দিয়ে কভার করে রাখে, তাই তো সেভাবে। Storage of cooking salt, proper and improper. Why am I asking this separately? That's not the reason why this is asked. Master Jamanje to ki ache, you can use that salt, no issues. Why shouldn't salt be left out in the open? Salt. Third year, this is not expected, Baba. Salt ki thake? Tale? What are the properties of iodine in room temperature? What is the state of iodine at room temperature? Is it solid or liquid or gas? Chemistry bhule gacho. Iodine is gaseous, na? They are combined with salt in iodide form, but if you leave it in the open, it will convert into iodine and then evaporate. So there is no use of then fortifying the salt with iodine. And why am I keeping iodine in the salt? Why? Why? Iodine deficiency disorder কি হতে পারে? Goiter. Goiter hote pare. Goiter was a very prevalent disease in the foothills of the Himalayas, as you know. It is being almost eradicated, you can say, by introducing iodine fortified salt. Okay, the what that is in the packet, they are all iodine fortified now, and by eating that in everyday food, the goiter prevalence has rapidly decreased. It is in some parts it is there where they only use traditional salt. Otherwise, goiter is non-existent almost. So that is why the storage of cooking salt is important. It should be covered to prevent the loss of iodine. Okay. Next is cooking practice. You can observe, else you ask the homemaker, that whoever is cooking the food every day, you can ask them whether they observe some proper cooking practices or not. What are the proper cooking practices? Number 1. So, first washing, then cutting the vegetables, not the opposite. That is first cooking practice. Whether you wash the vegetables first and cut, or you cut the vegetables and wash. You ask that. Number 1. Write that, otherwise you will forget. You have to ask these questions, no? First cooking practice is washing the vegetables before cutting. That is the proper cooking practice. Second is খাবারটা ঢেকে ঢেকে রান্না করা. Okay, so you keep the utensils that you are cooking in, you keep it covered when you are not, নাড়াচ্ছ না যখন খাবারটা, তখন ঢেকে ঢেকে করবে. কারণ কি, what will happen if you keep it open all the time? ওইটাই, the same concept is in the heat na, the water soluble vitamins and minerals will all go out. Okay, so for that you keep it covered and use it like that for most of the time that you are cooking, so that their nutrients are preserved in the food. That is second cooking practice. While cooking or before cooking, the person who is doing the cooking should have their hands washed, proper hygiene maintained. Dirty hands e cooking korbe na. So do you always wash your hands before cooking? That you have to ask. Wash mane ki kore? With soap and water naki emni just contaminated water source ero kono thik nei. Onek jagay dekhbe water source, contaminated water source diye hath dhue seta diye ranna korche. So do you use soap and water or not? Other cooking practice, there is no such cooking practice otherwise, especially after the cooking, where do they keep the food and all those things. So that is there. So mainly cooking practices are these 3. Okay, good and unsatisfactory. There are 2 types. Whether they are observing all these 3 somewhat, then it is good. If they are not observing at least 2 of the 3 practices, then it is unsatisfactory. Cleanliness in and around the house, including kitchen, to see whether it is very dirty or not. Good, as unsatisfactory and poor. Now there is drainage system. There are 2 drainage systems of every house. In any pakka house or mixed house, there are 2 drainage systems. That is, one drainage system is of the whole house from the bathroom, other drainage is from the kitchen. Okay, so you have to see whether the drainage system of the house is present or not, and drainage system of the kitchen is present or not. Present or not. So in some houses they are not also there. They store all the waste and then throw it outside indiscriminately behind their house in a wasteland. So you have to see whether the drainage system is there or not. Next is waste disposal. Solid waste and liquid waste. Solid waste means all the things, the organic waste that is there in the kitchen, whether they are disposed of properly or not. And liquid waste means the drainage. From the drain, whatever is going, where the refuse is going. So solid waste, you have to write here where it is dumped. Liquid waste, you have to write here where it is released. The place, the exact site where it is released or where it is disposed. You have to say that. Then presence of any housefly or mosquito are there or not. Other medically important pests like rodent, etc., insects, they are present in the house or not. Breeding places are present or not. Breeding places means the outside, if the drains are open or there is a wasteland around, okay, which is not, the house is not protected from it. So you have to serve, or in the house also there are places where the water is being accumulated. So we have to see all over whether you have found any breeding places for mosquitoes or flies. Then there is kitchen garden, whether they have their own garden from where they take their food. Next is a very important thing, that is water supply. So where do they get their drinking water? They can buy their water. They can get from a municipal tap water from their house premises or from outside their house premises. Or they have directly municipal water connected and they filtered it through their aquaguard and use it. That also that can be there. So source of drinking water. Mode of supply, continuous or intermittent. So what is a continuous source of water and what is an intermittent source of water? Continuous means there is no gap, the water is always there. So usually in municipal tap water only the source is continuous. Intermittent means whether if they take their drinking water from hand pump, from deep bore well, that is an intermittent source, because water is not always there in the bore well, they have to pump it up. Same whether if they are turning their pump on, the electric pump on in their house for a certain period of the day, and then they are using that water throughout that day, then that is also intermittent. Pump use korche mane ota intermittent. If they are directly taking the water from a tap water, then that is continuous. Otherwise, everything else is intermittent source of tap water. Why is it important to know whether it is continuous or intermittent? In continuous sources of water, that is tap water, there is usually very less scope of any other things entering into the pipe or the bore well. If it is intermittent, there may be air accumulating, okay, there may be other drainage or sewage seeping into that intermittent source of water. So that is very important. Adequacy of supply, whether adequate or inadequate, means you have to ask whether the water they receive per day, whether they are adequate for use or not. Distance of water source from the household, if it is within the household, you just write within the household, or if it is outside, then you write the distance, how many meters away. Number of families or persons using the water source. That same water source, if it is shared by other families, you have to write how many families are using. Then comment on the water source. If it is a well or a tube well, then you have to comment whether that is adequately protected from outside contamination sources, whether that is covered or it has a cement platform, okay, or whether it is far or near from any other sources of contamination, like there might be a septic tank nearby. So at least there should be 50, I think there should be 100 meters distance from the septic tank or any other contamination source from the water source. In your book it is written 100 meters away, it should be minimum. Otherwise there is always a chance of contamination. How does the family fetch water from that source? It means what are they using? Buckets using or any other things they are using? Is drinking water given at any special treatment at household? Whether they boil the water or they are using any aquaguard or filter or not? How water is stored at the household? Means in which container they are storing their water, whether it is covered, whether it is protected, okay. How water is drawn from the stored vessels for use, that is also a source of contamination. If they are using a ladle or a hata use korcho ba ekta kichu use korcho mug use korcho jol bar korar jonno, then while drawing the water, whether they are immersing their whole hand, their dirty hand inside, or they are just using the that jeta use kore ladle or mug jeta use korche. So that is, you have to see or you have to ask that how do you draw your water from that container, okay, because that is water is being used for drinking, not any other household uses. And then you come to the water sources for other domestic uses. For the rest of the activities like cooking, washing and everything, where are they getting their water? Then there is excreta disposal. Where do the families along with the children go for defecation? If they use latrine, what is the type of latrine? Sanitary or insanitary? Sanitary means there should be a perfectly concrete or any pit latrine there should be a latrine that is constructed. It should have a water seal and water source, water supply. That is called sanitary latrine. If they are doing it in an open field, then that is there is no latrine is present, that is open defecation. Then there is possession, whether their toilet is within their house or not, or they are going to a public or common toilet. In some communities, especially in urban slum areas, it is there, community toilet is there. Because you are studying in Shantiniketan, we have studied, many of us studied in Kolkata medical colleges, where you used to go to family projects in slums nearby our colleges, and there people used to use public toilets because they didn't have toilets within their homes, okay. So that is a very important thing, but that is a source of many other diseases. But here from our experience, we have seen that many of them have their own toilets within their house, so you have to just see that. In case of common toilets, number of people using it and how is it maintained, whether the maintenance is good and poor, means there is light is there or not, water is there or not, you just have to see that, okay, whether it is cleaned or not. Next is pet animals or bird present or absent. If present, type of animal, numbers. Now there are two types, there is one pet animal and there is one cattle animal. That is, one is for their pet and one is for their livelihood, okay. So there are two types of animals. So you have to mention that whether they might not have any pet animal or bird, but they might have, you know, cows and goats for their livelihood. So you have to just mention that where they are kept. Animal shed is there, but where? Within their house or just outside their house or far away from their house. So the minimum distance between a house and the cattle shed should be 25 to 50 feet. Should be 25 to 50 feet minimum. That distance should be there. Otherwise, that is also a source of several diseases, especially respiratory diseases are there. And when and how the animal excreta is disposed. So all till now is the environment part of the house. So one person or two persons should be there measuring the household floor space area and door and windows. Others should be observing the kitchen. In this way, you have to divide among yourselves and see the different parts of the house, because you will have a limited time in the field. Especially now, also we were planning to take you guys next week to Muluk, the neighboring village. We are planning to take you there. Okay, so you will find more time, but still you have to work together and finish this environmental part in around 15 to 20 minutes maximum. Okay, so to work together, like 5-6 people have to work together to complete this environmental part of the house. Now, health awareness and practice of the family. I have to talk to you today about RMNCHA, about the maternal and child health, mainly that component, whether a child is present in the household or a pregnant woman or a lactating woman is present in the household. So what are the parts that you have to cover in that family? So first of all, the family should be aware about the services that are provided by the public health system or the health system, health centers to the family. So there is a program called RMNCH plus A. What does it stand for? RMNCHA. Reproductive, maternal, child. N is for neonatal health, plus A is what is adolescent. So these are all connected because this is all part of a life cycle, right? From the maternal, reproductive and maternal, there is the child is born, neonatal child, and then the child grows into an adolescent. So all the whatever risk factors are there in each of the life stage, that the disease or the problems carry on to the next phase of the life. That is the idea behind RMNCHA. That is a life cycle approach is there. Okay. So that is why the care also nowadays is provided in a package in RMNCHA. It is under the same program. So whatever the awareness is from the after the woman or the person is in the adult phase, like they have crossed adolescence. So now they have to be aware about their reproductive practices or reproductive health. Okay. So now they are asking that what do you know about the legal age of marriage? You have to ask that couple or the respondent that what is the legal age of marriage for man and woman. For male it is 21 years, for female it is 18 years. That is by law, but what are they aware about? They might not be aware about that, because you will find there are many households where you will find pregnant female at 16 years. There are many families like that in the rural area, especially in these districts, in these certain districts that are in this part of West Bengal. So that is very common here. There they might not be aware. So you have to ask them. Huh? 21 and 18 ही আছে 18 ही আছে desirable age or year of birth. What is the desirable age of childbirth? They might say something, you have to write that. Whatever they are telling, you have to write in these things. Not the actual answers, you have to write what they are answering. Number of children with gender a couple should have. Okay. Then minimum gap between the two children. We are just trying to know what are they aware about, what are their thoughts on it. Because that also shapes their practices in reproductive and maternal and other health. So minimum gap between two children. What is the minimum gap that should be there? 3 years. Okay. So you have to ask them that what should be the minimum age of year gap that you have to record. Is there awareness in the family about ANC, PNC or INC? ANC, PNC, INC means antenatal care, internatal care, postnatal care. The services about that I'll show later. But right now you have to ask those questions that I'll show later, and then you have to understand whether they are aware about them or not. That is, you have to ask that pregnant mother, pregnant যখন গর্ভবতী থাকে তখন তাদের কি কি দেওয়া হয়, এইগুলো হেলথ সেন্টারে গেলে কি কি পায় কি না পায় তোমরা কি জানো এটা? ওরা যদি they're answering the right things, then you say that they're aware. Now what are the right things? I'll show you later. Now awareness about infant feeding, that is initiation of breastfeeding, colostrum, all these things you have to ask. That is, do you know when the breastfeeding should be initiated after birth? What is the time? Ideal time when the initiation of breastfeeding. When should we start? When should we start after birth? 24 hours. Within 1 hour. Within 1 hour, okay? In vaginal delivery, it should be ideally within 30 minutes or as soon as possible. In cesarean section, you say this within 1 hour. In majority of the centers, due to logistical problems, after cesarean section, there is always a delay. Then the use of or the consumption of colostrum. What is colostrum? First, thick milk or the yellowish milk that is there in the first 2 to 3 days of breastfeeding. So whether they are aware about that, whether they are aware about the importance of that, or they are not aware, whether they know that there is there or not. ওটা আদৌ আছে কিনা, ওটা আদৌ ওরা জানে কিনা কোলেস্ট্রমের সম্বন্ধে। প্রথম যে গাঢ় কি বলে হলুদ দুধ 2-3 দিনের জন্য বেরোয়, ওটা সম্বন্ধে কি জানো? You have to ask like that. Then you go to prelacteal feeding. Prelacteal feeding means before the introduction of milk, human milk or breast milk to that infant, yeah, whether they are fed anything else or not, like water or honey. There are some myths about that. So that is there, that whether they are aware about prelacteal feeding or not. যে তোমার দুধ খাওয়ানোর আগে যে কিছু খাওয়ানো হয় এটার সম্বন্ধে কি তোমার কি ব্যাপার আছে? তুমি কি ভাবো যে কিছু খাওয়ানো উচিত মায়ের দুধ খাওয়ানোর আগে? If they are saying হ্যাঁ খাওয়ানো উচিত, এটা খাওয়ানো যায়, ওটা খাওয়ানো যায়, that means they are not aware that এগুলো these are not proper practices. Nothing should be fed to a child after birth till 6 months of age except for mother's breast milk. And in case the child is very sick, then they can take medicines. Apart from that, nothing else. Because everything from water to all other nutrients, from antibodies and everything, that is all there in the mother's milk. You don't even have to give water because that can be contaminated, or that because the gut of that infant is not developed yet. They are not having the gut flora that we have as adults have. So anything that you introduce from outside, it might be harmful for the baby, especially. It might cause infections in the gut. So to avoid that, only mother's milk should be there. Okay. Then mode, frequency of feeding. So the breastfeeding should be done whenever the child demands or whenever the child cries. In many times a day, it can be more than 10 times a day. And at night also, the child should be woken up and fed at least 4 to 5 times. Okay. At night also, the child should be fed 4 to 5 times. Night feeding should also be there. Then there is exclusive breastfeeding, as I said, till 6 months, nothing else should be fed to the child. Then after 6 months, you start introducing home food to the child, that is complementary feeding. And feeding during illness. During illness, what should be fed to the child? So you have to ask about these things to the mother especially or pregnant woman, whoever is the appropriate respondent for this, to ask them whether they are aware about these things or not. Whether if they are about to answer some parts and not about to answer others, then you can write satisfactory. If they are able to answer many things, then that is good. If they are not able to answer anything almost, then poor. The awareness about infant feeding is there or not. Next is the immunization of the child, name of vaccine preventable diseases, importance of vaccination, age of different vaccinations. Means name of vaccine preventable diseases means what are the, you have to ask কোন disease against টিকা আছে, কোন রোগের জন্য টিকা দেওয়া হয় বা ভ্যাকসিন দেওয়া হয় বাচ্চাদের. If they are able to answer few diseases, you write whatever diseases they are saying. Importance of vaccination, কেন দেওয়া হয়, কি হয় তাতে, and age of different vaccination, কোন বয়সে কত দেওয়া হয়, কোন ভ্যাকসিনেশন দেওয়া হয়. Then finally family planning services. Family planning services means family ছোট হতে হয়, কিছু কিছু যে ফ্যামিলি প্ল্যানিং ডিভাইসেস ইউজ করা হয়, কি কি মানে বাচ্চা রোধ করার জন্য কি কি ব্যবহার করা হয়, ইউ হ্যাভ টু আস্ক লাইক দ্যাট, বাচ্চা রোধ করার জন্য কি কি ব্যবহার করা হয়. দে মাইট সে হ্যাঁ কন্ডম ব্যবহার করা হয়, ইনজেকশন দেওয়া হয়, ডিএমপিএ দেওয়া হয়. So all these things, if whatever they know, you have to write that, name of some methods and place of availability. Where do you avail these services? They might know, people here might know, because all these family planning methods or things are there in the health center for free. They go there and they can take for free. So they know a lot about these methods. Especially nowadays, the injection method is being promoted a lot in the DMPA. Because it is very compliant, only once in 3 months the person has to take 150 milligram of that injection, and the woman is adequately, she has contraception. If she wants to have a gap between two children and everything. So they might be aware about some methods. Then there is awareness regarding the availability and importance of ICDS or midday meal. ICDS means Integrated Child Development Services. So Integrated Child Development Services, what this ICDS does not come under Health Department of India. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare এর মধ্যে ICDS আসে না. ICDS কিসের আন্ডারে আসে, কোন মিনিস্ট্রি দেখে, ওমেন এম্পাওয়ারমেন্ট, ঠিক আছে, মিনিস্ট্রি অফ ওমেন এম্পাওয়ারমেন্ট ওই ডিপার্টমেন্টটা দেখে. কেন দেখে? বিকজ দিস ইজ নট রিগার্ডিং অ্যাকচুয়াল হেলথ, this is the growth and the development of the child, where the health of the nutrition of the child is seen, where the preschool education of the child is seen, where the growth monitoring of the child is done. All these things are done in ICDS center, or otherwise also known as Anganwadi center. So if you are seeing in the question about Anganwadi, that means ICDS only, Integrated Child Development Services. So there is preschool education, there is nutrition, the supplementary nutrition is provided there. Then there is in monthly once, in that center only, the ANM comes from the health center and gives immunization to the children, all the children who are registered to that ICDS center. মাসে একবার করে আসে, এসে ইমিউনাইজেশন দিয়ে যায় যাদের যেদিন ডেট আছে. Immunization is also there. Okay. Preschool education means up to 6 years, whatever the education is there, because 6 years and beyond they are going to primary school. So whether they know about this Anganwadi center or ICDS center, or if they are not understanding any of these terminologies, you ask them khichudi school, jene khichudi পাওয়া যায় বাচ্চাদের জন্য. So you ask him about that, whether they know about that. Whatever, have they availed any services from there? Because not only children, but also pregnant and lactating mothers can also avail services from there. They can get their iron folic acid supplementation, they can get their nutrition, okay, and get their advice. All these things are also there. Midday meal is in schools. Once the child goes into primary, secondary school, they are getting midday meal. In midday meal, the nutrition is provided in such a way that they are getting about their daily requirement, 2/3 of their protein requirement and 1/3 of their carbohydrate requirement. 2/3 of protein requirement and 1/3 of carbohydrate requirement. And that is in addition to the food they are already eating at home, not in place of the food they are eating at home, not instead. So it is a supplementary nutrition, midday meal. This is there in the child health component, okay, this ICDS midday meal. Then you are going to adolescence. Awareness about WIFs and biannual deworming of adolescence. What is WIFs? Question eschilo, nutritional anemia management. One of that answer was WIFs. What is WIFs? Eta poriyechi ami ekbar practical na lecture konete poriyechhilam. Weekly iron folic acid supplementation. What is that? Week e ekbar kore so prottek jonke ekta iron folic acid tablet dewa hoy. All the adolescents are provided, male female all. They are given of iron folic acid tablet. They are taking once weekly to prevent anemia, not treat anemia, to prevent anemia. Those are blue colored pills. For adolescents, those are blue colored pills. And biannual deworming means twice a year they are given one albendazole 400 milligram tablets for deworming, because that is also a source of nutritional anemia. So both these things, WIFs and biannual deworming, especially in adolescents, are for management of nutritional anemia or prevention of nutritional anemia. That is one component. In fact, these are two components. Out of the 6 interventions that are there for management of nutritional anemia, these are 2 components. There are 4 more. Okay. Awareness on vitamin A and IFA prophylaxis for less than 5-8 children. Means for under 5 child, whether the mother is aware about iron folic acid supplementation and vitamin A supplementation. So under 5 child le ki kore iron folic acid dewa hoy? Ora to school e giye dhoro tablets pacche per week. বাড়িতে যতক্ষণ আছে আন্ডার 5 চাইল্ড বা যারা আইসিডিএস যাচ্ছে তাদেরকে কি করে how you give iron folic acid supplementation? অটো ডিসপেন্সেবল শিশিতে সিরাপ পাওয়া যায়, আয়রন ফলিক এর সিরাপ পাওয়া যায়, সেটাতে একবার টিপলে 1 ml বেরোয়। সো 1 ml করে বাই উইকলি, উইকে 2 বার, একবার 2 বার আশা দেখিয়ে দেয় বাড়িতে গিয়ে that this is how you feed the syrup to the child, একবার টিপলে 1 ml ওটাই খাওয়াবে, তো মেজার করার কোনো ঝামেলা নেই। উইকে 2 বার খায়, একবার 2 বার দেখিয়ে দেবে, তারপর থেকে মাই তার চাইল্ডকে দিতে পারবে, যে কেয়ারটেকার সে চাইল্ডকে দিতে পারবে। সো দ্যাট ইজ আয়রন ফলিক অ্যাসিড প্রোফাইল্যাক্সিস। যে বাড়িতে এসে সিরাপ খাওয়ায় বাচ্চাদের আয়রনের সিরাপ, এটার সম্বন্ধে কি তুমি জানো? এন্ড ভিটামিন এ যখন টিকা দিতে দেওয়া হয় তখন ভিটামিন এ সিরাপ খাওয়ানো হয়, এটার সম্বন্ধে কি জানো কি জানো না, এটা জিজ্ঞেস করতে হবে whether they are aware or not aware. So this is regarding all the reproductive, maternal, reproductive e tomar family planning chole ashlo, maternal e tomar ANC, PNC, INC এই সার্ভিসেস গুলো এলো, তারপরে চাইল্ড এ তোমার এলো, নিওনেটাল এ তোমার তো সার্ভিসেস গুলো ব্রেস্ট ফিডিং এন্ড অল দিস থিংস, কমপ্লিমেন্টারি ফিডিং এ তারপরে চলে যাবে চাইল্ড হেলথে, তারপরে ICDS, MDM আসবে, তারপর অ্যাডোলেসেন্স এ WIFs and biannual deworming. All these things সম্বন্ধে অ্যাওয়ারনেস আছে কিনা। নাও পার্টিকুলারলি এটা আছে যেটা সার্ভিসেস গুলো, the ANC PNC সার্ভিসেস, this is the last thing that I am teaching you today. প্রেগন্যান্ট ওমেন এর একটা সেকশন থাকবে তোমাদের বুকলেটে, যে if there is a pregnant woman in the family you have to record their details. So pregnant woman এর ডিটেইলসটার মধ্যে আছে একটা নেম, এজ, last menstrual period, when was the last time she had a menstruation, then expected date of delivery EDD, duration of pregnancy means POG, period of gestation koto, okay, gravida and parity. Gravida and parity means, what is gravida and what is parity? There is a confusion that is there in this stage, but you have to be very clear. If the person is having pregnancy for the first time, what is a gravida and what is a parity? Gravida 1, parity 0. Parity means the number of previous pregnancies. How many times she has been pregnant before, that is parity. Number of previous pregnancies is parity. And what is gravida? Gravida means number of previous and current pregnancies, total. Means the total number of times she is pregnant. Means she is pregnant now, so her gravida is 1. Gravida is 1 for the first time. Now she is pregnant for the second or third time. So the gravida will increase, so will the parity. Now, if she had a miscarriage, right? If she had a miscarriage, like what? Before she is now pregnant properly for the first time, the last time she was pregnant, miscarriage had happened before 28 weeks. That is the period of viability. So what is the gravida is now actually 2, right? But what is the parity? 0, because the previous pregnancy had not reached the age of viability. So then you will write gravida 2, parity 0, abortion 1. Okay. So you have to write, if there has been an abortion for the mother, you have to write beside that abortion how many. Okay, otherwise write parity. Is this pregnancy planned or unplanned? You have to write that বাচ্চাটা কি আপনার নেওয়ার ইচ্ছা ছিল বলে নিয়েছেন নাকি হঠাৎ করেই হয়ে গেছে, আপনাদের কোনো কিছু প্ল্যান ছিল না। Mother, if the mother has any at that time any complaints, any health complaints like vomiting or back pain or stomach pain or bleeding, anything can be there. You have to write the chief complaints, any present illness, that history you have to take, when did it start, how is it increased or decreased, what did she do regarding that, any other illness she has, like any other comorbidity, she might be having hypertension, she might be having hypothyroidism, all these things can be there in pregnancy. Then other personal history and obstetric history. Obstetric history means in the previous pregnancies if there is there. So that child has been delivered by which method? That child has been delivered preterm or term. Preterm means before weeks se bolte hobe, before 37 weeks, that is preterm. 37 weeks and onwards up to 41 plus 6 days is term. 42 weeks and above is post-term. Okay. So all these things in the previous pregnancies you have to note down in the obstetric history, because this is what is history. Now after that you have to examine and see whether the 4 Leopold's grips you have to see. And have you learnt in obs-gynae the Leopold grips? Means when you are palpating the abdomen of the mother, firstly when you are examining the pregnant woman, you have to ask for permission, and always there should be a female doctor or any one of you should be there if a male student is measuring or seeing the grips. So female should be also always be there, and you have to see the 4 grips. 4 grips means the 4 Leopold's or Pollick's grips, that is not Pollick grip, Leopold's grips. That is firstly in the abdomen you have to place both the cuffs or the palms at the top of the abdomen, okay, and see what you are feeling. If you are feeling nothing like a bouncy surface or a smooth surface, means the child might be in the transverse position, okay, the child is lying in a transverse position. Then you have to put your hands on the sides of the abdomen and feel whether you are feeling a smooth feeling or a knob-like feel. Knob-like feels means the hands and feet of the child is there. In the other part, smooth means the spine of the child is there, the back of the child is there. Then in the lower part, you have to see whether the head, you are palpating the head, that is smooth round surface, or some bumpy surface. So the child might be in breech position also, means the head is above and the buttocks is below. If the child is in the cephalic position, means the head is below and the buttocks is above. Okay. And then from the opposite side, you have to see and hold whether the child head is palpable or not. So these are the 4 groups. It is there in your obs-gynae book. You have to see it. Okay, there is nothing that much problematic or very difficult. Okay, you have to just with experience you have to see and feel that what you are feeling while palpating. Now anything the child can be palpated. Okay, child can be palpated after 12 weeks of period of gestation. Before 12 weeks, the mother's abdomen, like the uterus, doesn't grow above the symphysis pubis. After 12 weeks, like 16 weeks, then 20 weeks, then 34 weeks, it will go up to the xiphisternum, and then after 36 weeks, it will again go down from the xiphisternum. So in that way, the fundal height will increase and decrease. Okay, fundal height is measured from the symphysis pubis. First, you have to measure that and see how much the uterus growth is there, how much the abdominal distension is there, and whether it is from up to the umbilicus or between the umbilicus and the xiphisternum or up to the xiphisternum. And you have to corroborate that with the mother's period of gestation, what she is saying, the history she is given and the fundal height you are measuring. Okay, up to symphysis pubis is 12 weeks, you cannot feel anything above that. Then between the symphysis pubis and the umbilicus, it is 16 weeks at the midpoint. At the umbilicus it is 20 to 24 weeks. Above that 30 weeks it is between the xiphisternum and the umbilicus. And then at the xiphisternum it is 34 to 36 weeks, and after that the fundal height decreases. 40 weeks it will come down again to that 30 weeks. Okay. So the in that thing you also have to measure the fundal height. Okay. Now the MCH care availed, that I will show you in the later part. Because in the lactating woman also you have to kind of collect the same type of preliminary data and any contraceptive history or menstrual history, that is whether she is using any contraceptive or whether she has used any contraceptive in the previously or not, and menstrual history, that is when her menarche had started, what is the duration of her menstruation, what is the duration of her cycle, whether there is any pain during menstruation, dysmenorrhea or not. Okay. All these things you have to see. Now the ANC, INC and the PNC. ANC means the antenatal care or the antenatal services that are provided to the pregnant mother, that is before the delivery, that is antenatal. Before the delivery means antenatal. So what are the services? Number of antenatal visits availed, that is how many times a mother has visited to the nearest health center for checkup, that is antenatal visits. Minimum is 4. Minimum is 4. First during the registration of pregnancy, that is when the pregnancy is detected, and 3 times after that. Minimum 4 should be there. But you have to see whether how many visits she has done till now. There is something called MCPC. Response are recorded in MCPC. What is MCPC? You have been shown the spotter, I think. MCPC. If not, then we will show it later. MCPC means Mother and Child Protection Card, the green booklet that is there, that is given to every pregnant mother, and it is followed up till the immunization of the child is completed, till 2 years of age of the child. That is called MCPC card, Mother and Child Protection Card. What is that? That is a green booklet where the mother's details are all there, whether the mother has got the 2 tetanus doses of immunization, whether the mother has received any iron folic acid supplementation or not, whether the mother has received any other iron folic acid supplementation or not, whether the mother has been clinically assessed and seen whether her BP is elevated or any other blood test has been done or not. All these things are first recorded. Then after the child is born, where the child was born, what is the birth weight of the child, whether the child has gotten any birth vaccines or not. All these things are recorded in that card only. Then the immunization part is also there. At what date the child is coming getting the next immunization dose. Okay. So that is called the Mother and Child Protection Card. Now number of antenatal visits availed should be minimum 4 throughout the pregnancy. If the mother is has not completed pregnancy, if it is not a lactating mother, if she is a pregnant woman, it can be less than 4, but you have to write how many visits are there. Next is anthropometry. Anthropometry means the mother's height, weight. Okay, height and weight is only there for the mother, nothing else is there. Then measuring BP and fundal height. As I said, the blood pressure you have to measure, the fundal height you have to measure, and checking the lie means how the child is lying, whether cephalic position or breech position or transverse position. If you are not feeling anything on either side, then it's a transverse position. Then fetal heart sound. Fetal heart sound we cannot actually measure like that without the sound of a Doppler, with the use of a Doppler. But if you can hear anything by placing a stethoscope, then fetal heart sound is present. Maybe you cannot measure it, but you can write whether it is present or absent. Then whether the mother has any pedal edema and whether the mother has any pallor. Pallor means you are seeing the palpebral conjunctiva, right? The palpebral conjunctiva and the pedal edema to see whether the pitting is there or not in the leg. So all these things, if it has been recorded in the MCPC card, then what are these findings that the mother had, and in practice what you have found. Okay. Then immunization against tetanus. What is the mother, how many doses of tetanus doses are given to the mother? 2, right? For the new mother or who has not got any tetanus injections in the past 3 years, First dose is as soon as possible and second dose is at least 4 weeks after that. So there are two doses. If she has been pregnant within 3 years before, then only a booster dose is given in the present pregnancy. Then folic acid or iron folic acid tablets. What is folic acid? Folic acid, when it is given to the mother, ফলিক অ্যাসিড প্রেগনেন্ট মাদারকে কখন দেওয়া হয়? শুধু ফলিক অ্যাসিড? গেস করো না, কনফিডেন্ট, এটা তো জানতে হবে। নাও ইউ হ্যাভ now you guys are in the position that you have to know and go into the field. First trimester, why first trimester we are not given iron? Iron is not given in the first trimester because at that time the teratogenicity, that chance is there. Okay, iron has a chance of creating teratogenicity. That's why we are not giving iron or even calcium in the first trimester. In the first trimester only folic acid is given. From the second trimester onwards IFA and calcium are given. Then whether all these blood tests have been done or not. That is hemoglobin estimation, blood grouping or typing, VDRL, HbSAg, urine for albumin, USG. Why are we doing this? হেমোগ্লোবিন দিয়ে কনজেনিটাল, ভিডিআরএল কি? হ্যাঁ, তো সিভিলিস কনজেনিটাল কি করবে? মাদারের আছে কিনা এটা দেখছি, চাইল্ডের তো দেখছি না। অ্যানিমিয়া স্ক্রিনিং, রাইট? ব্লাড গ্রুপিং অর টাইপিং, ব্লাড গ্রুপস দেখছি যে কি আছে। সিফিলিস স্ক্রিনিং, ভাইরাল অ্যান্টিজেন স্ক্রিনিং, ইউরিন ফর অ্যালবুমিন প্রোটিনিউরিয়া হচ্ছে কিনা। প্রোটিনিউরিয়া কখন হয় মাদারের মধ্যে? যখন মাদারের এক্ল্যাম্পসিয়া হবে, এখানে সিজার হয়, প্রোটিনিউরিয়া হয়। সিজার না হলে প্রি এক্ল্যাম্পসিয়া, সিজার হলে এক্ল্যাম্পসিয়া। অ্যান্ড আল্ট্রাসাউন্ড, চাইল্ডের পিওজি দেখতে হয়, চাইল্ড আন্ডার ডেভেলপ না ওভার ডেভেলপ সেটা দেখতে হয়। So all this is for screening. In pregnancy, what are the screening done in mother? Treatment and referral for any complication. কোনো কমপ্লিকেশন হয়েছিল, লাইক ব্লিডিং হয়েছিল পার ভাজাইনা, কি ভমিটিং হয়েছিল, কি অজ্ঞান হয়ে গেছিল, তাতে কোনো ট্রিটমেন্ট দেওয়া হয়েছিল কিনা, and whether she is having any complication now during your examination, whether she is having any complication now. Next is dietary advices. What are the dietary advices given to the mother in pregnancy? First and foremost, you have to tell that in pregnancy you have to take 2 extra meals. Instead of 3 meals, you have to take 5 meals per day, because during pregnancy and also during lactation for 6 months, the requirement for calories, protein, everything increases. Because the mother is not only consuming it for herself, her body is also there, and for the child also during pregnancy and lactation. So she needs the adequate dietary advice, because if she is eating less, it is hampering her own health and also the child's health. So she has to take 2 extra meals. She has to take at least 5 out of 10 food groups. What are the 10 food groups? There is cereals, there is pulses, there is fruits, there is vegetable, green leaf vegetables, other vegetables, there is oils, there is flesh foods, there is egg. All these 10 different food groups, and she has to take at least 5 food groups per day. That is there. It is called dietary diversity, diet diversity. You have to diversify the diet. If you just dal bhat খেয়ে সারাদিন পড়ে আছে, that is not adequate or balanced diet for the mother. Okay. Now advices about rest and others, lifestyle, breastfeeding, work, drugs, etc. Mother কে কখন রেস্ট করতে বলা হয়? How many hours she should rest per day? Eight hours at night and 2 hours in the afternoon. She has to be given that advice that she has to rest 2 hours in the afternoon and 8 hours at night. Yes. দুপুর বেলা 2 ঘন্টা ঘুমাতে হবে আর রাত্রি বেলা 8 ঘন্টা ঘুমাতে হবে। And then told about danger signs. Danger signs means যদি বাচ্চা নাড়াচাড়া বুঝতে পারছে না, she was feeling it all this time, suddenly she cannot feel the child moving. Per day at least 10 movements minimum mother has to feel, especially in 3rd trimester. If she is not feeling that, then there is a problem. Okay, if she is suddenly having pervaginal bleeding, or she is having lots of vomiting, or she is কিছু কিছু প্রবলেম এরকম যদি কমপ্লিকেশনস গুলো প্রেগন্যান্সি স্পেশালি 3rd ট্রাইমেস্টারে দেখানো হয়, so she should be aware about these danger signs. Whenever there is a danger sign, what should be her response? She should go for a checkup to the doctor, to the nearest physician, or to the hospital. She should be there. Finally, told about birth preparedness and complication readiness. Birth preparedness, there are 2-3 things. Firstly, she has to know that usually in pregnancy in government services, what do? You call 102 number, that is mother and child ambulance, free ambulance service. The ambulance comes there, picks up the mother and child, and then goes to the hospital for delivery. That is the usual thing. But in case that is not possible, in case of any weather problem, or the place is very remote where she is staying, so what are the things that about the birth preparedness that should be there as an alternative means? Firstly, she should know that she has to call that ambulance at 102, whether she knows about that or not. Second is whether there is any trained birth attendant present in her community or not. In case she could not go to the hospital or any center for delivery, in case that she has to have a home delivery, so whether there is a trained birth attendant or not who can come at the time, who is available at the time. Trained birth attendant. Whether there is transportation service available readily when the mother will be going for delivery. গাড়ি আছে কিনা, কোনো গাড়ি available আছে কিনা, গাড়ি বলা আছে কিনা, in case ambulance is not there. Transport, trained attendant হয়ে গেল, transport হয়ে গেল. Third is whether they are financially secure and টাকা জমানো আছে কিনা. Some money should be there so that in case of an emergency they have to might be going to a private health center. Okay, or in any case any services that she has to pay. Ideally she should not pay for anything, but in any case that service is not there, she must be ready with the money. So whether financially they are protected or not. So all this comes under birth preparedness and complication readiness. All these things are there, the antenatal care. So from the antenatal visits till the delivery, the time she is going for delivery and birth preparedness, that is all the services that she gets is the antenatal care. Next comes the intranatal care, that is during delivery, what the mother is receiving at the center. First of all, you have to see where she is doing the delivery, at home or the institution. There are 2 types of deliveries, home delivery and institutional delivery. Means institutional delivery is in a center or hospital. So you have to write that. Second is mode of delivery. Mode means whether vaginal delivery, normal delivery that is, or C-section or forceps delivery. Either of these 3 is there. Delivery conducted by doctor, A&M or trained attendant, whoever is conducting the delivery. Any complications during delivery present or not, and because there might be placenta previa and all these things are there. And the next is essential newborn care. What is the essential newborn care? Means when the child is come out, now what are the newborn care that should be present at each and every, at even the lowest point, that is the PSC where the delivery is done. Where some PSCs have delivery, some PSCs don't have delivery services. But wherever there is a delivery service there, what are the basic things that should be available for a pediatric care or a neonatal care? That is the essential newborn care. Okay, there should be first of all resuscitation kits should be there for the child. Suction থাকতে হবে, হ্যাঁ, তারপরে কি করতে হবে যে ভিটামিন কে ইনজেকশন দিতে হবে, that is given to the child. Not always vitamin K is not present, but it is recommended. And any essential newborn corner where there is ultraviolet light to prevent the neonatal jaundice, that should be there. The essential newborn care should be there. And the child has to be first of all wiped and covered with a cloth, especially the head, because during the birth the child's head surface area is more than the body surface area. So the heat loss will occur mostly from the head, and there is a chance of hypothermia in the child. Okay, so the body should be covered, especially the head, so that heat loss is prevented. And then there is a cord care. The essential newborn care consists of the cord care or the clean practices. Clean practices means when the delivery is there, for example normal delivery, there should be some clean practices. What are the clean practices? There should be clean hands. The whoever is delivering should have clean hands. They should have clean delivery clean with a clean cord cut. That is a cord, the umbilical cord should be cut by a clean knife or a clean scissor, that is sterile. Okay, there should be clean towels and clean surface available, especially where the delivery is happening. And the cord after cutting should be clamped with a clean not clean cord, that is the forceps are there that is used to clamp the umbilical cord after cutting, and after that it is tied at the end. Now after that the cord is not being cut from the baby. Okay, the cord falls off automatically within 7 to 10 days after the delivery is occurring. So during that thing there are some myths again that they apply some turmeric and everything to that umbilicus so that it falls off earlier. That is also a myth. Nothing is to be applied there. Nothing should be applied there, because that can also be a source of infection. Okay, so that is should be there. So that should be clean cord care. So clean surface, clean delivery, clean cord tie, clean cord stump, that should be there. And during the cord cutting, this is also one comes under management of nutritional anemia. Clean cord cutting, during the cord cut, when the child is taken outside the vagina and the you can see the or feel the pulsation of that umbilical cord, that is the mother placental blood is still going to the child. So you have to allow at least 3 minutes. After that you clamp the cord and cut the cord. Okay, you have to allow at least 3 minutes so that adequate blood or hemoglobin is going to the child, so that the child is not again presenting later with the nutritional and anemia deficiency or anemia problem. So at least you have to allow 3 minutes of blood pulsation before you cut the cord. So that is also an essential newborn care. Now next comes the postnatal care or the PNC. Number of postnatal visits. After the delivery, when the mother is kept for observation for 48 hours, that is under rule. 48 hours later, she is going back to her home. Now, how many postnatal visits are there or home visits are there to her house to see whether the mother and child are in health or not, in good health or not? 6. Okay, there are 6. So that are usually that is done by ASHA. They go and ask whether there are complications or not, whether the child is being breastfed properly or not, the weight monitoring of the child, the weight gain of the child is there or not. So that is all monitored by this postnatal visits up till the whole postpartum period. That is at day 1, at day 3, day 7, day 14, 28 and 40. 28 or 21 ki chapter, then 42 days. So 6 visits are there. And measurement of birth weight within 24 hours done or not. IFA supplementation means the mother after delivery also till 6 months post delivery she has to continue taking IFA and calcium. So before delivery 6 months and after delivery 6 months she has to take IFA and calcium tablets. Advices regarding feeding means breastfeeding, care of cord, prevention of hypothermia, family planning, immunization, diet, physical activity. I have told you till hypothermia. Family planning means if that is their first child. Okay. So you have to ask that any other means that you are doing family planning methods, any other family planning methods you are adopting. They might say we are using this condom and then a copper T, or they might be saying I am using injection. So anything that they have adopted or not, or if they have completed their family with this delivery, whether they are planning for any permanent method of sterilization or not, like laparoscopic tubectomy. Okay. Then immunization. For the child immunization, whether they have done or not. In the postnatal care, the child immunization means the child will get 3 birth doses, that is BCG, hepatitis B, birth dose and OPV 0 dose. After that, if they are aware that the child has to be taken for regular immunization like at 6 weeks, 10 weeks, 14 weeks and etc. Then diet. What is the diet of the mother? The child will be having the breast milk, but what is the diet of the mother? Again, that extra 2 meals, 5 meals, and the diet diversity should be good. The diet should be adequate. Okay. And physical activity. Physical activity means the mother should not be lifting any heavy things, right? And should not be lifting any heavy things. She should not have any rigorous physical activity. She can do household work and everything if she is up to it, but not very heavy work. And assessment of sick child. If the child is sick, how do you assess a sick child? The child will be having a deficiency and the child will be not feeding properly. He might be lethargic, he or she might be lethargic, he or she might be irritable, not be feeding well. All these are signs and symptoms of sick child. Okay. And finally, supplementary nutrition from ICDS. Whether the mother during pregnancy and after pregnancy has taken any supplementary nutrition from the Anganwadi center. This row you have to write about the responses that is recorded in the card, and this is the practice, what she is doing now and what she is reporting or what you have observed. That is in the practice. So all these things are the antenatal care, intranatal care and postnatal care. Okay. And I'll suggest you one thing. I have told you about environment and I have told you about RMNCHA. Go back home and এখন ঘরে গিয়ে এই দুটো চ্যাপ্টার পড়ো, একটু চোখটা বোলাও, then you will know the topics and you know exactly what to ask them in the field, because me as a single person or even 2 faculty cannot monitor each and every one of you at every time what you have to ask and what not. We can guide you, but the things you have to ask on your own to the family members. So you have to know and just go back and read these chapters and just note down whatever you have to ask to get the answers to these questions. Okay.